Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good night. Anything you are, everywhere you are. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, GoCode Media. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope you've been enjoying the series so far. In the last video, we talked about iframe, we talked about video, we talked about table in part 4 of this video. And today we'll be talking about mainly input, tag, form elements, and let's see how much we can do like semantic. Then we can actually round up this and maybe go to CSS series. Just look forward to it. Let's jump right in. That's it. So so here we are. Where is my cursor? So as I was saying, I'll quickly talk about ID versus class, the difference between both of them. Then I will take each type of input tag individually, just quickly explain, and of course guide you more also where you can get more information. And then let's see how much you can do with form tags and semantics and stuff like that. Let's just jump right in. So of course, as usual, we'll start with our HTML boilerplate. I've created that. I'll call it GoCode Media Part 4. Part 5, sorry. Part 5, yes. HTML fundamentals. So we can just copy all this now. Somewhere in the body. Yes. So starting with the ID and class, just like you have an identity card that is unique to you. But then if you're in a class or you're working with a person at a company, you guys are colleagues. So there's a common thing that is common to all of you. That is the basic difference between this attribute of ID and a class. And it's very important. We'll be using it a lot when it comes to CSS, because we use it to grab an element, then style it, put color, put this and that. But let me quickly give you an example. Let's assume I have a div. I can maybe do some series about this element later, but you can just type dot. Let's start with the class hash. Let's say ID. Yes, that's it. You can see it's a div with an ID of ID, and of course I can put just dot class. I don't need to write the div because of course I'm talking about div. That is the power of emmet. So then that's it. So but then if I have the same class, and maybe I call this like some element to, I call this some element 1, the point is that if I go to my CSS and I do anything with this same class, it will affect both of them at the same time. So it is very like a smart way to quickly like just group a lot of things that have common properties together, then deal with them in CSS. But ID is just very simple, just that uniqueness. For example, you have just one head, one foot, and stuff like that. But don't worry, I'll give a lot of more examples when I come to CSS. Just look forward to that. So now let's go quickly to input tag. It's very important to me because like you use it a lot. You fill form, you click a button, you upload a file, different kind of input that you can use. As you can see, there's text, there's password, there's email, there's telephone, there's submit, there's search, there's a lot of them. And also they have this attribute at the same time that you can use for them, like maybe disable a button, like make a form like particular place checked, make it focus, put a placeholder and stuff like that. But let's just jump right in. Maybe we should not talk so much and just let's go there. So for example, it's just very simple. You just type input. So let me just take it out. The default is text, as you can see. So, and usually, let me save it so that you can see what I mean. Open with live server. Yeah. So we can just comment out this also because we don't really need it any longer. So I will just bring this one here. You can see I can type anything I want. I can type number, I can type symbol, just it's universal. So that is for text. So let's assume I want input and I want it to be of type number, for example. As you can see, I cannot put alphabet, I can only put number, you know. And sometimes it's also possible that you put this kind of on your phone when you are trying to put like a telephone number on some website. This is what they use number. So you can use email, you can use anything. For example, let's quickly check with the password, you know. So I'll turn that to password. Yes. So when I make it focus and I start typing on it, you see it turn into this circle, so that some people cannot just like pray through over your password and stuff like that. But as you can see, you can put any type you want. You just put password check and stuff like that. And sorry, you just put the type, maybe number, telephone. So don't let us really waste much time on that. You can put time, but I will show you this. You can actually go refer to it and just check more information that you want, as much as you want it. There's different type, radio and stuff like that. So for example, let me put a div here and I call it like input. Let me put radio. Then see the power of MS. It give you button, it give you checkbox, it give you color. You can quickly put color. Normally it will come with this ID, with this type, with this name and stuff like that, because all this you actually need. For example, this name, when it's come to PHP, you have to grab the value and just put it. You can also put a value here, for example, so you know what it is. I can show you something about that later. So let's just reload this and see what happens. So you can see, so I can save any color, I can change it, I can do anything that I want and stuff like that. I can just grab the value, and we are not going to save it, of course. So that's that about that. But I want to show you something also really cool. Let me quickly show you this. I will call it like a range, for example. I will call it range. Let's give it an ID of range. Then let me create another div. Sorry, I can just create a BF. Some people use BF, which is like line break. Let me put another input here. Let me call it, give it an ID of demo, and let me put the value as empty. So I've created very small JavaScript to just show you something. Let's quickly run the script now. It's actually in SRC, and if you don't want to do that, I think you can just type emit script, and no, sorry, you can just type script, put SRC, it's completed for you. So that is index.js. Sorry, so I think let me just close all this one. We don't really need all this one now. So I will just drag and drop the same thing here. So let me put it inside this one. Good, now it's there. Let's close this back and let's see what happens. Hopefully it should work now. You see, that's it. As you can see. So the point is that I'll quickly explain more about other properties that I want to talk about. For example, this range, the default value is from 0 to 100, as you can see. 0, 100, that is the maximum. But if you want, you can put your min and max, because as I told you, this can have a lot of properties, different kind of properties as you want. Let's say we want the min to be 50, and we want the max to be, let's say, 70, and you want a step of 2. So you see what's going to happen now. If I move it, you see it can only move two steps, and the maximum is 70 and the minimum is 50. So that's that about that. Let me see another one that is more interesting. Okay, let's check maybe button or something. Yeah, you can also use URL, because you see some website they want you to submit, like to put a website. Let's say you are submitting or you are registering your information somewhere. So if it doesn't have this symbol of @ and stuff like that, it doesn't accept it. So let me see another one that is also more interesting. Maybe I do something like this, like call it input update. Let me call it date, sorry. Oh, sorry. Type is date. You see, so you can choose the date, for example, today's date. You can choose anything. Don't let us really waste much time on this. But let me see if let me create another div quickly. Even though I'm not creating a div, let me just create another input of button, for example. Put button. Come on, I mean button, not. Okay, let's just quickly do it again. Sometime if it doesn't, yeah, good. So as you can see, this is a button, there's nothing there really. So but I can put the value to be, let's say, button, for example. Yeah, you can see now it's there. So for example, I can disable it. I can call it disabled. You see, now you cannot do anything with it. That's why sometimes, there's some website, like maybe because you're on a particular web page or a particular portion of the website that you're not allowed, they will just disable it. But let me show you another cool one that we are going to be using in form. So let me show you this one. Input, I call it submit. Naturally it comes with this default submit, but let's assume I don't want the value of submit. Let's say I want to say sign up, for example. Now I've changed it, so you can put anything you want, then you can grab it in CSS, style it, and do any kind of thing you want with it. Also in a form, you can do a reset. For example, input, I will call it it will not really work now because we're supposed to grab it. We're supposed to attach it to a form, so that will take us to form. So let me just remove this now. So let me create an horizontal rule quickly. Let me create a div, and inside that div let's have a form. Maybe there's no need because form itself I think is actually a block element. You remember we discussed about block element and inline element the last time, but normally with this form there is something called action, and this action, maybe index.php, for example. Index.php is just where you are going to the form will be submitted when you click submit button. But here we are not doing PHP, so we can just leave it empty if we want. But you can put something about method, which can be get or post. And when I later start my PHP series, which I'm really you guys are actually looking forward, I'm sure you will really like it. We'll discuss this, talking about security with post, with get, and when you are supposed to use it. The one, for example, if you see a link, is it book? Can you bookmark it and stuff like that? It's because whether they use get or they use post. So, but let's just get right in. But before I go, I've shown you this. So input type and also the input tag and everything like that. So I can put this. Yes, this is before I forgot. As you can see, there's a lot of for example, I will show you this one quickly. Input type demo value. So let's just make this autofocus, for example. Autofocus. As you can see, you can put autocomplete. You can put anything you want there. Let me put it in another. Let me just close it up. Yeah. You see what happened? When I reload it, it autofocus it. It just create this blue border around it. So I also put this, and you can actually check it. There's checked, there's disabled, there's different kind of attributes that you can use to enhance and just make life easy for the user. So don't let us waste time on that as usual. So let's quickly build one very small form. Normally in HTML5 nowadays it's good to put something called label. For example, label. Yes, so you can say label for name, label for this, but now you don't really need it. Of course, as I said, in PHP it will be very important. So but just let's say label for first name, for example. So I call it first name, and that will be input. So name. Let's just load and reload it. You see, I can put any name and stuff like that because I make it to be test. So we can do the same let's just make it full name, for example, so that we don't have to write first name and last name. So it's just an example, just for you to get an idea of it. So we can call it full name. So for example, I can create like let's say age and stuff like that, but let's just create email. I've showed you that. I don't want to repeat that. Let's do another one. Let's say the one for radio, for example. So I will show you input type radio. So you can see you're not going to see anything, so you must put like a label and stuff like that. So I will just copy the same thing and say label for, let's say, countries, for example. And the first one I can just say like, let's say USA. So you can see USA is already there, so let's just copy it, put it there again. So let's just change it, let's say UK and let's say Nigeria, for example. Let me just push it on a new line so that it's easier to see, because of course normally you want to put it on new line, but we can do it better with CSS. But just let's do something quickly. So I will come here after the full name, I will just say BR, for example. Yes, now it push it on the new line, but then I have option to click which one I want and stuff like that. So but then to make it more interesting, you can see you can just select all of them, but normally you don't want this. So I will just go here and say, for example, the first one is checked. You can see by the time I load it, it's just like automatically checked. But it's because normally if they all have the same name, let me put it, for example, name, I call it countries. I think then we should be able to just select only one of it. I'm not sure if I remember the actual way to do this, but let's see if we can just get it. Good. Now we can only just select one because they all have common names. So it's good to like group them together. So the parser, the HTML parser, understand that they are all in the same, they all belong to the same, to the same group. So that is it. And as I said, this is already checked. So the last one I'll quickly show you before we quickly round up this is about select option. Select. So let's say select for, let's say sex, for example. So are you a male or female? And let's say label. No, sorry, let me just call it option. So there can be option group. So option, the value for, let's say, male. Let's put it small letter. And it is actually a male. You can see it's just one option, so we cannot see anything now. So you can just put it in a div of its own, and then grab everything and just put it inside here. Good. So let me put another option, because this is very easy to remember. Just remember you have a selection, and in that selection you have options. So that's how to put it. So selection is like the parent tag. So let's start about that. So let's put it, and yeah, so I'll call this female, for example. So you can see now we have male and female. So if I want, I can just maybe check this one, just like what we did the other time. So but okay, it was the one that was there at the beginning as we wrote it. So let's put it on the second one so that we'll actually see it in action. No, it's supposed to be selected, not checked, because of course we are not checking it. It's supposed to use selected. As you can see now it's selected. So that's all about that. So then the awesome one we want to use is input submit, of course in a form, because you actually need this. And as I told you, let's say you want a value of send. So So that's it. So we can just put it on a new line, BR for example. So you just want to send it. You see, nothing happens because we're supposed to define where you're supposed to go to, like in the back end and stuff like that. But we are not going to do that. But before that, let's assume for some reason you just want to reset this. You want to reset the old thing that you've selected in this form, for example. So I'll call it type, I'll call it reset. So I come here, I select this, I put some name, then I come here, I change it to this, and I press. You see, everything just went back to the way it was before. This is always very useful. For example, you want the form to reset after the user has submitted, so that when they come back, they don't have to like. Yes, I forgot to show you something. Another attribute you can also use is what is called placeholder. Let's go here in the full name, for example. Where is it? Yes. I'll call it placeholder. I'll call it like enter your name. No, I think I put it at the wrong place. Sorry. It should not be area, please, and enter your name. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be here. The input. As you can see, it removes. Before, some people they want to put like value, for example, here, and they want to say enter name. Let me remove the placeholder, and you're going to see the difference now. For this, I have to remove first what is written there, which is not a very good user experience. So that's why this is not good to be used here. You just use like, for example, something like this placeholder. So let me see what other one I've not. Yes, autofocus disabled and stuff like that. But to just quickly end this HTML series, which I hope you've been enjoying so far, let's quickly talk about semantic tags. And this is very, very interesting because I'll tell you, nowadays we have something with header, you have a section, you see it's just coming, you have section, you have footer, they are more descriptive because before, those people that have actually been developing a website for a very long time, they said you have to use like table, float, and all those kind of very difficult way. Like for example, your header could be one small table, then the sidebar or the side menu can be another table. But nowadays with HTML5, everything is so descriptive, and this is very important because especially for the search engine optimization, the search engine can actually, like for example Google, it can easily index like, okay, this is the header, this is the main thing, this is the section, this is article, this is a side. For example, inside article you can have inside section you can have article, then of course you can also have a side and stuff like that. So it's very easy to go about. But let me just quickly show you, which I can also put this in HTML Semantic Tag in the description of this video so that you can just get it. There's always this. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. There's a lot of semantic tags, so it's not just only this, as you can see. As you can see, this is the header, as I was telling you. Normally we should have a navigation bar here. You have your header, you have your nav. For example, people just use div for all of this. You remember I told you that div is just like a section. It's just like a generic section. They can use a div here, use another div here. But nowadays, you can make everything very descriptive and easy for the search engine to actually understand that, oh, this is a footer, this is a section, this is a site, this is and those kind of stuff. This is a time, as you can see. I will put this in the description of this video so that you get used to it and just learn it and just get it done. I hope you've really enjoyed this HTML series. I really want to move so fast, and this is where we are going to be ending this series, and I hope you've learned so far. Please let me know what. For example, quickly before I forget, there's figure, you can also describe the figure that is called caption and stuff like that. But I'm sure, of course, you will look it up. But please don't forget to put comments if anything is unclear to you. I always try as much as possible to respond to all the comments on my video. And please, let's just get things rolling. Let's just go GoCode Media. Subscribe, share with your friends and family. Remember to like, share, ask questions, comment, and just remain active. And let's just go there to the journey of learning web development. Look forward to my CSS series, where I will also be doing a lot of stuff, explaining everything line by line, telling you how things are going. And then we are going to go to, of course, JavaScript and PHP and stuff like that. And just look forward to it. Everything is going to be really fun. Just watch out. Thank you. Subscribe, share, press the like button, press the share button, press the subscribe button, put on your notification, and let's just go do it together. Thank you very much. Remember what GoCode Media.